Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another wonderful interview. Today, I'm excited to have Giorgia Fumanti here. So, thank you so much for joining me, Giorgia.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I'm curious to know you've had this incredible career, and we'll go into it here in a second. But do you remember, your first performances, what that was like, what age you were?
First time, you mean really, really first time?
Yeah.
I was almost 17 years old.
Okay.
I discovered my voice because before that I was singing with my grandmother when I was 4 or 5, but it was just me and her, and it was before going to bed, just to calm me and to reassure me. But then I never thought I want to be a singer, and I never said I want to be a singer. I was a very shy girl, and I want to be a social worker. I want to
Oh,
be
nice.
a lawyer to help children. And then when I was 15, I was in a difficult time for a teenager. And one of the places where I could feel peaceful was in the church.
Mm.
And I heard that the choir of the church needed young people. So I said, I will go there, not because I have not because I want to be a singer, not because I have a voice, just for the service. And so I brought with me a friend because I was too shy to go by myself. And when I arrived there that night, I thought I could hide in the back with all the others, choirists. And finally, no, because the director was a very passionate tenor and asked us to come in front and sing something. And I was extremely embarrassed and shy. And finally, I tried to do the same sound that he was doing on the piano, and this little natural soprano voice came out, and everybody was super surprised, first of all myself. 3 months later, I was the soloist of the Christmas concert,
Wow.
and that's what I started. So it was a little part, but I had this natural soprano voice that was coming out despite my very shy personality. So that was my first memory, singing many times in choir for the people in my hometown in Italy.
Do you feel like that music from choir, from church, those like inspirational songs, do you still get inspired by them? Do you perform any of those songs now that you're, a soloist this many years later?
Yes, I often surround myself of children choir and
Mm.
people that sing in choirs because they are so passionate about their passion, and they do it because they really feel it. I sang many years in choir after there was almost any professional choir. And I know that the people that sing in choir, they do it really because they feel in their heart. It's not their profession often. So they're really passionate people with beautiful voices. So as soon as I can, I surround myself with choir, and I love the sound of the choir because everybody together makes this one beautiful sound. So it's very symbolic to our world. I wish that our world can work as a choir because there'll be much more harmony in this world. So I often, as often as I can, I have choir, and I still sing some of the songs I learn. Yeah.
So obviously the reaction you had from a very beginning was good and positive, and you started doing solos quick. And from that, how did you, go on to develop it as a career?
Yes, actually, it was it was very easy for me to sing, but it was very hard for me to believe in this possibility for me to become a singer. So the biggest work for me was on my personality, to trust myself,
Mm.
not so much on the voice. Um, when I was 18, a few years later, I discovered my voice. I needed to choose what to do. And my parents, I come from a very simple family where to be an artist was a very difficult reality to believe. And my parents, they didn't really want me to have my heart break, and they were
Mm.
trying to push me through a normal job and study university and going to law university. And I wanted to believe in this dream of doing music, but I was not confident enough at that time. So I thought to myself, maybe it's just an illusion. And I try to do normal, good things that society recognizes more than an artist. And I went far away from music for a couple of years until I realized that I needed to sing.
Mm.
So I went back to my choir, despite I was studying law at the university and I was working with children with handicap, doing many things in my life. And the music was this faraway dreams that finally I took the courage to believe and follow, despite I had challenges because I found teachers that almost destroyed my voice. So I had many life lessons to learn to recognize the talent, the gift, and then study in the respect of my nature. That was one of the biggest learning I had to do, to respect my nature. And finally, I started to go inside the Conservatory of Music in Parma, and I studied there for a couple of years until the time I did a demo for a very famous singer in Italy, Zucchero, and that is the composer of Miserere. And this demo arrived in the hands of my actual manager, and I left Italy in 2002, and I started this career. And I arrived in Canada with no friend, no family, and
Wow.
just a dream. And we started to work very hard. And finally, years later, I started to receive.
I think that's, what you're saying is very common for a lot of families. I know my family too. They were like, always do music on the side. Don't do it as a career. And I think, it's interesting. I've heard you in the past say that your voice is bigger than you. And I think that's when we think of the power of music and all it can do, sometimes people really limit it as, oh, you may not make a whole bunch of money, but the impact that it has can just be life changing. And you mentioned you're doing other things, and I feel like your heart misses it when you're not doing it, right?
Yes, definitely. I tried to do sure job, normal things. I knew that it was so difficult to be an artist and to live with this this art, this passion. But in the same time, what I suggest to people, to young people, when they tell me that they would like to do their music, I always tell them, first of all, the gift is that you are doing it, that you have that talent. And that is the first gift that we need to nourish. Then, if it's become a profession, it can be good. Sometimes it's not even good. Sometimes you lose yourself if it become a profession. I know so many passionate, wonderful musicians that they do it just because they have to do it.
Yeah.
You can't not do it. I think that if you have a talent, you need to live it for yourself, first of all, to be happy and balanced. And then if you can share it with others, it's amazing. So it took me years to understand.
So when you were coming up, I remember seeing your From My Heart album, and the time that it was coming out. Obviously, crossover has developed for a long time, but I feel like that was just one of the big moments where people were getting to know crossover. Um,
Right?
and what was that like for you? Because you were involved in a couple different PBS specials, and you were kind of putting this out there. What was that like, just exposing people to this genre?
Was a big time. You're totally right. You have a big knowledge on crossover, and that years there were really many artists that were coming out, and I was lucky enough to be one of the many. At the same time, I was still like in the beginning of my career, so it was a lot. Like personally, my level of sensitivity is very high, and I need to really be ready because I'm affected by many external things. I can be affected by many external things. So I had a huge production around me. I was very lucky. We recorded in Abbey Road with the best musicians, and we did PBS special in USA. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, but sometimes was too much for a material
Mhm.
commercial result, in a way that sometimes, of course, you need to make a lot of money if they invest a lot of money on you, but sometimes doesn't go with the normal um, growing of the artist. I believe that an artist, like in every field, more you grow, more you are confident, more you have the experience, more is beautiful and true and comfortable. In that case, you just a machine and you need to deliver, and so it was beautiful. I toured the USA, I toured Asia. That was also a lot. And I had other important things to do in my life that I wanted to do, like to become a mother. And sometimes all this was not respected and was
Hmm.
not something that was encouraged by this huge record label.
Yeah.
So I had a wonderful experience, but at the same time, it was also a pressure.
Very draining, I imagine. Did you feel burnt out at the end of that? And then you became indie or?
Yes, was a certain point because you're a beautiful singer, so you know that what we sing it's sometimes demanding on the
Yeah.
voice, and you need to have a certain personal life to keep your body and your voice capable to perform, and so you can push too much. And I heard and I know of wonderful singers that they lost their instrument, their voice because it was too much.
Yeah.
And definitely, your ego wants more and more and more and more. Of course, you want more audience, more people, but it's very important to respect our nature, to allow our voice to sing what we are singing. So thank God I have my manager near me, that is my husband. So definitely he has to understand. He doesn't have a choice. And that is a huge protection for me in my choices. Respect my rhythm because we don't have a choice in the singing that we are doing and the style of music we are doing. You need to have a certain style of life and in respect of your rhythm. And this is necessary if you want to keep performing for a long time.
Well, yeah, and the thing is with singers, you're putting out these songs like these Italian arias or these other pieces, and you're really giving a piece of yourself. And if you're not getting refreshed yourself, right, you're emptying. Um,
And me, from when I became a mother, definitely is such a lot. I have 4 kids now, 2 biological and 2 adopted. And this is something that was such a long journey for me to achieve this through wonderful miracles and very difficult times where I was very difficult. And now that I have the 4 of them, of course, my heart is so full of love that, when you sing, you emanate all that. So definitely, I believe that the personal life of an artist reflect them in your talent, in your singing, wherever is your art.
and also probably placing boundaries, right? Now that you have your children, you can be a little bit more selective.
Yes, it's something that I need to learn a lot. It was very difficult for me to say no, but right now it's like a necessity for my own health. So I am very open and I love to give as much as I can when I sing, but I also need to have a very private, balanced, protected life to recharge and to be able then
Yeah.
to be.
So you have recorded, I believe it's now 12 albums, is that right? Or is it 13? It's 12. Okay, 12. So that is a huge catalog. When you think about it, a lot of the artists you tend to see like one album, maybe a second album, and then you don't hear as much from them. But having that huge catalog, what's that been like in able to explore different kinds of things? Because I'm sure it's very different from when you started, how you approach it.
Yes, my first album was on the music of Vangelis, and now that he departed our world a few months ago. This wonderful composer, he becoming so. I will go to Greece this summer to sing to honor Vangelis. So it's very interesting how the first album now is becoming so present. But definitely, my voice changed so much in the last 20 years, almost 18 years that I started my career. So my voice opened much more and it's much more free, despite what sometimes the industry want me to believe, that a woman, especially a woman, is to stay young all their life. And basically impossible. So
Yeah.
always on the woman. I don't know why the man become a maestro and the woman, they need to stay 25 of their life. And I always found that very, very, very not right. Sorry, in English. I didn't have the other word. So in the beginning of my career, they told me that. And now that I'm 47 and it's 18 years I'm doing it, I know that my instrument is so much more free and open.
Mm.
And I'm really tired to feel this pressure, especially on a woman. So I am very confident that an artist can do their passion until you are lucky enough to be able to channel this art because it passed through us, I believe. And so I'm very confident, and I have so many projects coming, and I work very well with my producer, Stefano Galante, and we have so many albums and so many songs all the time. We're working already on the 13 and other things are coming. So I would love to sing until my voice is so free to sing.
I think that's the other thing too, is we see people and it's at this one moment in the career and yeah, they sound wonderful, but life experiences really adds to your interpretation of music, right? It's totally different how we sing certain pieces 10 years ago to now.
Definitely, the confidence on me was, and still is, still not. I'm still not finished. I'm still working every day on my confidence, on the love for myself, because it's very easy for me to look at myself and to recognize certain ability, but then to criticize other part of me, and it's a journey. You know, we are human and we are all on earth to learn. But in the same time, I know that when I sing, it's so deep in my heart, this joy and this desire that I just want to share it with the people. So, you know, when I was younger, the look and the dress and this and that was always a big stress and it still is sometimes. So, but then I say to myself, you know, I just want to share the magic of music, and it's even more stronger today than 20 years ago. And yes, the experience and the ears and the morning and the miracles, all everything gives you a different layer of sensitivity that is necessary in our profession. And instead of looking sensitivity like a problem, when I was little, many people told me you could never do anything, you're too sensitive. Now it became my strength. So it's just to honor ourselves, I think.
Yeah. And you mentioned your producer, Stefano. Can you tell us about some of the other collaborators you've had? You've worked with some wonderful artists like Jose Carreras and, you know, how these people kind of helped to inspire you and
Yes, Jose Carreras was a wonderful experience because it is such an icon of the opera world, the classical world. And in the same time, I was able to meet the very funny side that he had. He was talking to me in Italian and telling me jokes on stage. So, and then I was going on stage with him with 10,000 people in front of us and an orchestra. It was definitely a milestone in my career. I was totally afraid too because I was singing with one of the icons. So you need to really, wow, you don't have time to doubt. You need to do it and deliver it because so it was very stressful, but it was a wonderful experience. His elegance on stage and the love that the people had for him.
mm,
Singing with Lang Lang, this amazing pianist, Chinese pianist. I met him 3 times. We sang together 3 times, and I'm very connected with China for my career. And now I have a daughter that I adopted in China. So it was beautiful to perform with Lang Lang. He's an amazing artist and pianist. Michael Bolton and many artists here in Quebec, in Italy too. So yes, I was lucky enough to share the stage with wonderful artists, and also to see what I didn't want to do. Like, because I met wonderful artists that they had such a mess in their personal lives. And definitely I was very afraid of losing myself.
Yeah.
So I felt very lucky to have my husband near me, that is my manager. Sometimes we fight often because, because we fight for music and for stuff, but it's 20 years that he's in my side and he helped me. It's 50% of my music, it's him. Because me, I had all the dreams, but he's the one that brought the dreams on earth in reality. So definitely Morris is the 50% of my music.
Now, you mentioned, a couple highlights. Another thing that you did was quite awesome. You performed both for the Paralympics and also, I think, the Beijing Olympics. So, what is that experience like? I imagine it's just crazy out of body experience.
Yes, and in China, every time I went, the audience on TV, there were numbers that I couldn't even imagine. They were like 100 million viewers, numbers that you don't even, it was so big that you don't think about it.
Yeah.
It's like unreal, and you just go and you perform. And then I was coming back here in Canada, so I never had the first-hand experience in China with my audience. It's such a big exposure. That was beautiful because it was free, it was on TV, so people didn't need to buy any ticket. It was available for everybody. And for me, it was very important to let the sound travel. And I always pray to inspire people through my music. So I was just very happy and honored to be able to sing for such a large audience. And in China, they don't have YouTube like us. It's such a different way to circulate. And that was beautiful and grandiose.
So, you've released your latest album is called Mystique. Um, when did you first start planning for it? And, what are the themes that were important to you in this album?
We started to record it in 2020 when
Okay.
we had the idea before in the January 2020, and then when the pandemic arrived was March, we were here in Canada, everything was locked down, and we were communicating with my producer. And in July, I finally went to studio because we couldn't before. And we were such in a difficult time for everybody in the world. Nobody knew what was really going on. And many people we were thinking it was the end of our career and everything. So we just wanted to do the most beautiful music to inspire ourselves and the people. So we chose this selection of huge classical pieces to do it without any commercial need, just the desire to inspire the people. And unfortunately, during the recording in September, I was actually in August, I was blessed with the arrival of my first child, a child foster family that I went to take him at the hospital. He was 2 days old.
Oh, wow.
And it was such a blessing in my life. My heart was open like this of love. But 15 days later, my father passed away in Italy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And it was definitely a huge shock because he was very young, he was very sick, but I couldn't say goodbye to him. And the pandemic didn't allow me to travel, the quarantine, and 4 kids in the house. So definitely this album became for him. It was an album dedicated totally to him, and I recorded 3 songs: Italian, French, and English. The English one is Papa, Can You Hear Me? And the Italian is Parole per mio padre, that means words for my father, and one in French. So definitely it's an album totally dedicated to him. And I know it's guiding me from the other world, but to lose parent is it's very huge. And it gave me even more the determination to accomplish what I want to accomplish in this lifetime, because everybody will leave sooner or later. So he gave me this determination to keep doing beautiful music and to pray to inspire millions of hearts all over the world.
Yeah, and on that path of making an impact, I read that you were recently made a peace ambassador. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that is another gift, because it's years and years and years that I pray. I'm a very spiritual person, and I was lucky enough to travel in so many different cultures that I met Buddhists and Christians and Hindus. I sang for so many different culture and spiritualities in the nature for me, uh, American Indian people. So I really believe in all kind of spirituality that respect others, that talk
Hmm.
about peace and love and light. So I often offer my voice for causes, and to receive this acknowledgement was a beautiful gift, and very important.
And what are some of the things you'd like to do? Obviously, I think Canada is still in some lockdown, different places, but as that opens up, what are some of, the places you want to go back to live concerts, or what are your plans?
Is everything is blooming again, and I feel it's very symbolically, because now my family is complete. I have 4 kids, and the little one, he will be 2 in August. So the first 2 years, I felt I was in a nest with my kids and the pandemic, and everybody was locked down. But for me, it was kind of good because I couldn't travel, because my little one is in a foster family, so it was different. I always travel with my newborn, but in a foster family, you need to respect the rhythm and the judge. And now the child is with us forever, and
Oh,
I'm so happy and such a relief. And I know he will be 2 in August, and my life is starting to spin again, and I can feel it. And a part of me is almost like, oh no, I want to stay here, because I'm I have like 2 nature. One of it's extremely shy and personal, and then the other, when I sing, that you just want to sing for everybody. So I can feel these 2 parts, but things are starting to roll again. And actually, in July, I have 3 concerts here in Canada with the orchestra, with a beautiful violinist. His name is Alexandre da Costa, and the symphonic orchestra. We do 3 concerts. And then we fly to Italy for concert in August, and in Greece for a beautiful collaboration with an amazing composer, Alexandros. And we will do this tour in Greece, and then back to Canada. My kids start school, and I'm lucky enough to balance the school and the touring as much as I can. And then constantly in Canada, a new album coming out, and project for England that I'm very excited, because it's such a beautiful market in England, where they have such a knowledge of classical crossover music and artists. So I feel that so many things are coming, and I'm very excited. It's like to start again.
so I just have to pull in. So you said new album. Is that uh, that it's Mystique is being released in London, or is it a completely brand new album?
Yes, Mystic is released now, and we are really excited to promote there. I have a beautiful team in England that they are working so well, and with such a respect. And they're a woman, and I love to work with women. Men too, but I feel that with women we understand each other better, despite it could be also like a competition. But my age, I hope to go over and to respect only the beauty, and actually join together forces to make it stronger. So yeah, many projects, but I'm already recording new material that will
Wow.
be in autumn, and I'm ready to release it when my husband tells me it's the right time, because he's the mind behind my creation.
Well, that's amazing. We'll be definitely looking out for that. For now, everyone, please go and listen to Mystique on Spotify, stream it, buy it. Do you have physical copies also,
Yes,
Georgia?
I have physical copy with a precious picture of me and my biggest achievement, that are my 4 kids. So finally, I want to show to the world. I protect them too, because their identity sometimes is covered, but it's such a big achievement for me. The family I created, because it's not always easy. I lost 4 pregnancy, that
Mm,
they destroyed my heart. I I was blessed with 2 biological children, and my 2 other adopted, and one in foster family. So it was such a long journey that I know so many women go through.
yeah.
And now, to have this success in my family, it's something that I'm very proud of. And I wanted to share with women that go through uh, mourning and difficulties to become mother, show them that we can be mom in many different ways. So,
Well, your family, I've seen some of the pictures online. It definitely just radiates joy. So I'm so happy you have your family now, especially with your new little one that you mentioned. And thank you so much for speaking with me, Georgia. It's been just a pleasure.
it's such a pleasure. You are so talented in so many
Oh,
languages.
thank you.
You're so intelligent, and you give such a wonderful question. And you are a singer, so you know so much about our journey. And I wish you all the best in your career. And
Thank you.
so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Georgia.